Pokémon has gone open world, and it is very unlikely that we'll ever go back to something different. We might see it on a remake or on something that was developed by another company, similar to what happened with BDSP, but I think the main series is probably sticking to that new format for the long run. Still, there's something else that maybe should change. So hey, I'm not so ace trainer, and what about gyms? Let's get into it. When I made my video about open world Pokemon and its problems, this is one thing that came to mind, but I decided to keep out of the video because I couldn't really find an argument that worked for me. That was until I got a comment from Ace Trainer Devon that completely unlocked the whole thing. Gyms have been talked about a lot when it comes to Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet, but today it isn't about your classic, oh we need level scaling, it is about something else. We can still have your classic like and subscribe though, don't worry, but today we talk about gyms being monotype. This is part of the Pokémon essence since the first gen. For the most part, gym leaders always specialized in one single type, with the only exception being Blue in Gen 2 and Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, who has a multi-type team. This was never a problem and always posed a bit of a challenge since we were extremely limited on what Pokemon we had available. It was easier for Game Freak to control which Pokemon you would find since, unless you use glitches, they knew exactly what routes you could visit before a specific gym. It actually played very well with the exploration style of Pokemon. You had a limited map to explore, but you always had spawns that had a type advantage that could help you on the following gym, even if they were very rare. You also always had an NPC that could trade you something that was gonna help you for something that was easier to find. This eventually started to change, and in Sword and Shield, the wild area was the first glimpse of you having a lot of spawns available before every single gym, but it was still limited. Sure, there were all kinds of options, but some of them had a specific weather and others were locked behind areas that still had the quote-unquote strong-looking Pokemon thing in their spawns, making you unable to catch them. This changed in Scarlet and Violet though, where having access to so much from the beginning meant that basically everything was available. No gym was truly a challenge by having a specific type to counter since, well, you could easily make a team of 6 of a specific type and just mow through everything. It made me feel as if monotype gyms were no longer a challenge and maybe no longer really the best choice. It's a strange thing to say, but what truly is the point of gyms being monotype if that doesn't pose an obstacle anymore, if that doesn't really teach you anything anymore? Wouldn't it be better to bring some changes to gyms that could bring back the challenge that gyms used to have? In fact, this could even apply to the Elite Four in a different way. What is the point of them being monotype if that doesn't reflect on their own rooms, the Elite Four rooms? We saw a rework of gyms in Gen 7 that still kept the same specialty type approach but fit the whole traveling aspect of the Alola region and worked super well with the progression from island to island and even the story itself. While I don't think we need to go so far as to actually change the gym system, I think that a challenge to the strategies used by gym leaders could be necessary in the future. This could come as a multi-type team like Blues, but I do believe that something more specific, more like a strategy, would be the best approach possible. This would not only pose a challenge for those playing, but actually teach them about the synergy between Pokemon abilities and Pokemon moves and all that, in a more in-your-face manner. Setting up weather and then using such weather to boost attackers, making use of Trick Room, cheesy strategies like proccing a Pokemon's weakness policy or stat boosting ability in double battles. Things that could make the battles more interesting without the actual need to have a monotype team. As I said, this doesn't really need to be a blue-like 6 different types thing, but having 2 or 3 could be useful to make sure that we had to actually keep our eyes on the screen instead of just mashing A with our readily available type advantage Pokemon. And it would also work with the designs of gym leaders. It's clear that their type specialty is also worked into their design, which is pretty cool and wouldn't need to change. A rain user, a sand user, a trick room user, and even a weakness policy user could easily make its way into designing these characters as well as the badges. I really do believe that one of the things that we lost in the last few years was the challenge posed by the battles that should feel like a challenge. And now, these readily available Pokemon that are in the open world are yet another point that works in bringing down the difficulty level of such things. So I really hope that eventually we see something different being done in order to make us feel like gyms aren't just short stops that we are forced to make, but would rather not have to. And that is all I have for you today. I believe that gyms need to be changed in order to still pose a challenge in the open world scenario. But what about you? Would you enjoy such a big change? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. Also, you can become a channel member or check out my merch in order to further support the channel. I'd be forever thankful for that. You can follow me on social media or check out one of my streams here and on Twitch. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.